Okay, so I think in this class we will see about planning. So more briefly, we will go in planning. So actually, this is not the part of contingency planning. So in planning, we have two parts. One is contingency planning, and the other one is organizational planning. So we will see organizational planning in this class. Okay, so this is actually a very famous quote. I think most of us know this. Things which we do not hope happen more frequently than things which you do hope. For example, in the last two use case we saw in iPremiere as well as then the other one was target case study. We saw they were never prepared for attacks. Means they had they were always prepared for more and more profits. So this was something that they were looking for, and they thought because they have a very good security measures, so the attack cannot happen, but the attack happened. So you will see this actually is true from 254 BC till now, and I think this will continue till last. So every time this is going to happen. Yeah, but coming to planning, so if I define planning, so you can see planning actually is creating action steps towards goal. So every organization is going to have certain goals, and in order to achieve those goals, you need to do certain planning. And these planning actually will take you towards your goal. For example, if you want to become a very good organization with 20% growth rate, and let's say as well as you want to capture market 10 or 15%, for example, for an e-commerce website like Amazon, then you need to have certain steps, concrete steps that actually can take you from your initial goals to your final outcomes. I mean, and planning will also will also help you in controlling these goals, like how you're going to enforce these steps. So everything will come under planning. So basically, planning will give you directions for the organization's future. So where we are now and how we will and where we will go in future. So this everything is going to come under planning. It is going to help you in managing different resources. This resources can be digital cyber assets as well as the people who are going to work the infrastructure that you are going to use. Everything will is going to come under planning for an organization, and of course optimization of these resources, how you are going to use these resources efficiently, because for example, if you have a project, if it turns out that like four people can complete that project in 1 year, let's say if four people can complete a project in 1 year, which is 12-month project. So it doesn't means like four people are working each month, then the project it is getting completed. So if I employ, let's say, 20 or 30 people, we can complete the project, let's say, the next day or maybe in 1 month. So this is not possible. So resource optimization is something which you need to see under planning. For example, if you write any funding 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 this application, yeah, funding application, you might have seen, you plan how you're going to use your resources, how you divide your things for 3 or 4 years based on what you're going to claim. So you divide people, you divide money, you divide resources, what things you are going to purchase, everything you put there. So optimization is something which is going to come there. And the second thing, and the next thing is, it also helps you to coordinate the efforts of independent organizational units. So in every organization there will be multiple independent subunits, and this planning actually is going to help so that each subunits are working in coordination. For example, in a project there can be multiple people. One can work on, let's say on technology A, and other is working on technology B, but we need both of them to make one objective fulfilled. So in that case, A and B, they both need to work together, and there should be a concrete planning how you're going to ensure that person A and person B are working so that objective one is fulfilled when they work together. So these things will also is also one of the part of planning. It also motivates and engage employees. For example, if someone is working in Amazon, let's say if he has started his career, and then if he can see clear objectives what he is today and what he can be after 2 or 3 years, then he will be always motivated and he will be engaged with his work. So these things will also be there in planning, so from the whole organization point of view. And it also ensures long term survival and success, because every organization has to survive in this world. There will be different competitors, and you need to fight with those competitors to be on online, for example, in this competition. And this heavily will depend on the success, which ultimately is something is going to come from planning only. So overall, if you see, the whole organization success heavily depends on planning, and there are different things which actually organization use. I have listed most of them. For example, resources, people, and the coordination, and how you're going to use those resources that you need to complete the whole project. I mean, let's say. So this everything will come under planning. But if I talk about security in planning, so the things changes little bit. So security in planning, actually, we are referring to the measures and consideration, which actually is going to help you to achieve organization strategies, operations, and assets. So these three things you need to protect from potential threats. And these threats can be insider as well as it can be outsider threats. So so every organization typically so as I told you last in the last class, so security, information security actually helps organization to achieve their strategic goals. So in order to achieve those strategic goals, it is very important your security planning is directly aligned with the uh, organization's planning, means the main planning, I mean. So this things should be on strategic level. It should be on operation level. What people are going to perform day to day, like we are going to use our mobile or our laptops, or maybe we will access university Wi-Fi and all those things. So day to day operation, it should be also protected, and assets that we are going to use. So operation, this was assets. Operation, I mean the task that we are going to perform. So there can be one operation where we have some few people who actually take care of Moodle and time edit and all those things, like how students are going to access their teaching material and all those things. One operation could be how hiring things are happening in this university. So each operation's task should be protected. And this is actually very important, because as we have seen, even though you are using up to date firewall ideas, still threats are evolving day by day, and the security measures that were up to date may not work with the new evolving threats, right? So if I take from a very high level, if we see information security planning from top level, you will see this is how it looks like. For example, on the left hand side, we have contingency planning. So I think in the last iPremiere we saw they didn't had any contingency planning. So once the incident has happened, what you're going to do, how you're going to tackle those incident, whether it is an incident or it is a disaster, or everything has been done, means it is a disaster, and now how you are going to continue your business planning. So whether you want to stop everything or you have some priority business that you want to continue, so these things will be covered under contingency planning. So when an incident happens, how the organization is going to react, how they are going to run their business. The second, on the right hand side, that we are going to see in this class, in today's class, is organizational planning, which talks about strategic planning, long term planning, tactical, how you're going to break down those long term strategy into short term goals, and you're going to achieve, means how you're going to break it. So those things comes under tactical planning, and operational planning is day-to-day things that we are going to do, like meetings up to date. You're going to present up to date things, what you have achieved, and so on. So this is how planning can be divided into two parts. So now, if I talk about, let's see these things one by one. So strategic planning actually consists of these four things. First is, what is company value? Second is, what is company vision? Third is, what is company's mission? And of course, coordinated plan for subunits, because an organization is going to have different units, and how the coordination is going to happen. So these four things makes strategic planning. And of course, as I told you, knowing how the general organizational planning process works in the information security planning. So let's see these things one by one. So if I talk about values, so it tells you what is the company's principle, what the company believes in. So this comes under values. For example, we have we means I have taken one example here. Random widget works. So this company values commitment, honesty, integrity, and social responsibility among its employees. And also, it is committed to provide its services in harmony with its corporate, social, legal, and natural environment. So, if you see in this value statement, everything is very clear what principles this company has, and what actually this organization is going to conduct. The standards are also very much clear here. So for each company, these are the foundation. So the value, mission, so the values, vision, and mission statement, when you put together, this gives you the foundation of any organization. So value gives the principle, and on the other hand, the vision statement will give you what the organization wants to become. So you will be, let's say, once when an organization starts, initially it will think what it wants to become after a certain period of time, because this all comes under strategic planning. So it expresses where the organization wants to go, where the whereas the mission statement, the next statement, tells you how it will go there. So coming to the same example, if I talk about vision statement, it is RWW will be preferred manufacturer of choice for every business widget equipment needs with an RWW widget in every machine they use. So if you see the vision statement is very clear. So they want every manufacturer should use their equipments. So this is exactly what they want to become in future. And if I talk about mission statement, so it is going to tell you what actually it does. So explains what the organization does and for whom. Again, the same example we can see our WW designs and manufactures quality widgets and associated equipment and supplies for use in modern business environment. So if you see, it clearly says what actually it is doing. It is manufacturing quality widgets and associated equipments, and for whom? For modern business environment. So mission statements actually declares the business of the organization and its intended areas of operation. So all operation and where the organization wants to what it actually does. These things will be there in mission statement. So I have taken one example here of National Archives. If you see this National Archive example, I don't know if it is clear. So if you see, yeah, so if you see the values here, we can go from bottom. So what actually they value? What are the principles of this National Archive, which is a US based organization? So if you see, they value collaborate. So their values are create an open, inclusive work environment, which comes under collaborate. The second one is innovative and encourage creativity. The third one is learn, pursue excellence through continuous learning. So this is exactly what their principle is. But if you see vision, So what actually they are doing. So this comes under vision. So vision, if you see, okay, our vision is to transform the American public's relationship with their government, with archives as a relevant and vital resource. And if I talk about mission, like for whom they are doing it, our mission is to provide public access to federal government records in our custody and control. So this for whom actually they are doing this. So if you see every organization who wants to achieve something, they should have a clear vision, mission, uh, and values. These three things are very, very important. So overall, if you see this, if I talk about strategic planning, so the main thing that you need to understand is strategic planning is the long-term direction of any organization. It is going to tell you, or I can say, it is a disciplined effort to produce fundamental decision and actions that shape and guide what an organization is, what it does, and why it does, with a focus on the future. So this is exactly what strategic planning is about. So how you can create a strategic plan? So if an organization wants to create a strategic plan, we will see example also. Then the first thing is you need to create specific strategic plans for major division, and then each level or division that you have created on top, they are going to you need to translate those objectives into more specific objectives for the level below. And for now, in order to execute these plans, you should have some board, some executives, or I would say board strategy should be there, who is going to be responsible to see whether the planning or whether these plans are being executed properly or not. So you need to find some responsible people who are going to look after these things. And the whole strategic planning actually follows two approach. One is top down, and the other one is bottom up approach. So if you see this diagram, you can understand what is top down and what is bottom up. So in top down approach, we are talking about strategic planning. It comes from the top management, the chief executive officer. Then you have CFO, financial officer. Then you have information officer, and then you have operation officer, COO. So these all officers are the executive people. And then if you see, they have different responsible people. Like CISO is there, vice president of systems, vice president of network, VP is there. Then security management, system manager, network manager, security admin, system admin, network admin, security technician, systems technician, network technician. So, so the planning actually can come from both. It can actually come from the top level, as well as it can come from the bottom level. So the good thing, if you follow the top level, is you are going to have good funding. The funding will be there, and you will have concrete plans what you need to do, and the responsibilities will be shared among the people that you saw in that list. So better coordination and cohesion, because everyone knows what their responsibility is. So there will be no case of like accountability will be there. Who is responsible for what? Like if you see in this, we have a security manager, we have a system manager, and we have a network manager. So there are three different things, and three different responsible people are there. And similarly, if you go down, at the bottom, we have security technician, system technician, and network technician, which can actually be accountable depending on where the cyber threats has actually happened. And the second one is a bottom up approach, which actually is initiated by the admin people who actually are working in day-to-day life. So they know better what things are missing, what things are actually needed, and what are the loopholes in the company. So they can also initiate certain planning, and based on which the strategic planning can actually be executed. All right. So if I take a use case of, let's say, I have just taken a random use case here of Amazon Fresh. Do you know about Amazon Fresh? Okay, so Amazon Fresh, so nowadays, if you see, Amazon Fresh is something similar to we also have in India called, yeah, GeoMart, or big basket where actually they give you vegetables and day-to-day commodities things delivered online, or maybe you can also buy generally online, I would say. Yeah. So similarly, so if we take let in this hypothetical use case, if I take what can be the general strategy. So I have written some general strategy here. So for example, if Amazon wants to expand Amazon Fresh into 5 new international markets, so over next 2 years. So this is their general strategy. We saw there should be some general strategy. So this is their goal that they want to achieve. Now, in order to achieve this broad strategy, what Amazon can do, it can divide its plan into three different major division, which actually is needed to uh, to 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 make this business happening. One is logistic, how actually it is going to deliver the products, right? Whether they are going to use their own logistic or they are going to collaborate with some local logistic. This is the first thing. Marketing, they need to tell the people over there, like these 5 countries, and they need to tell how, like this Amazon Fresh, how well their product is, whether their product is affordable, whether their product is cheap, and so on. The third one is technology, because now they want to do business in 3 different countries. So they need to, maybe they need to have their own application, like a mobile app, which actually can be in their local language. For example, each country has its own language. So maybe they can also give a local language application. They can also give people an opportunity to do transaction in local currency, or maybe a preferred currency if they want. So these things, and how the data is going to be sent, whether the people are going to use multi-factor authentication, whether and all those things, I mean, related to business. So everything can go to technology. So now they for this, these can be 3 major strategic planning if Amazon Fresh wants to start their business in these 5 countries, and then they can divide this 3 into more subparts. How actually these things will work based on our previous diagram that we saw. Yes. So then, as I told you, so the planning level. So strategic goals are then translated into tasks. For example, I have taken one strategic goal, same example of Amazon Fresh, is to, like, they want to become a leading grocery delivery service in 5 international markets within the next 2 years. So this can be their strategic goal. And in order to fulfill this strategic goal, they can have a division of strategic plan, and then they can have different tasks. How they are going to achieve means they can have different tasks, and these tasks should be smart. When I say smart, it should be tasks then are going to be you're going to break this task into objectives, and these objectives should be actually specific, measurable, achievable, reasonably high, and time bound, means smart. So if I talk about specific, it means the objective should be clear and precise. So one example could be, if Amazon says they want to improve customer service. So this is very vague statement. You want to improve customer service, but if you say we want to reduce customer waiting time by for grocery delivery support by 20%. So this actually is very very clear and precise thing that you are going to that you are having in your objective. Similarly, if I talk about measurable, you need to be able to measure the progress of your things that you are thinking to plan. For example, one example could be they want to achieve 10% market share in Brazil's grocery delivery market. So 10% actually is a measurable term that you have. So you need to see what is the current situation and what will be the 10% once they start their business. Unlike increased market presence. So if I use again increased market presence, it is a very vague statement, and you cannot measure what I mean by increased market presence. Similarly, achievable. So whatever objective you have now, it should be realistic. It should not be hypothetical, and it should be attainable within the available resources and time frame. Because as I told you, it is going to be strategic planning is a long-term vision, but when you break them into certain tasks, so means in different levels. So it should have certain time frame, and you should be able to achieve those objectives within those time frame. For example, one example could be they want to expand their business in these 5 countries, which within 2 years, which could be achievable if they execute. But if they say they want to expand the same business for 20 countries altogether, this could be unrealistic. So this can be unachievable. Similarly, we have reasonably high. The objective should be ambitious enough to challenge the team, but not so high that it is unachievable. So for example, you want to set a goal to increase customer retention by 15% in a year, which actually is achievable, and it is reasonably high also. You want to have 15% retention of your customer in a year, and this actually is going to push teams to improve service without setting them up for failure. If I say they want to have, let's say, 30 or 40%, then the team can also get collapsed. So you should be reasonably high, but it should not be like it is unachievable. So we are just dealing what this smart is. And the last one is time bound. So there should be always a deadline. So every planning needs to have a deadline, and you should not cross those time frame or timeline. For example, if they say they want to launch Amazon Fresh in Japan by Q4 of 2024, so this actually gives you a correct deadline when they want to initiate. So it is Q4. It means by Q4 they are going to launch, rather than if they are saying launch Amazon Fresh in Japan. So in this statement, again, it is vague. You are not getting the commitment of time frame when the Amazon Fresh is going to come in Japan, right? So strategic planning then begins, and then you transform this general to specific objectives. And if you see this figure, so we have overall strategic plan that Amazon actually wants to launch their Amazon Fresh in 5 different countries. Then they are going to have different divisions. Let's say division B. As I told you, they can be different sub coordinates. They means even though they are working in one country, they can have different subdivisions working in different locations, right? And they need to coordinate with each other. So division A can have certain strategic plan that we saw. Marketing, technology, and operation can be one strategic plan, and then you are going to break those strategic plan into tactical plan. And tactical plan means shorter planning, not for 5 or 10 years. It is 2 years, 1 or 2 years, and then you're going to break this tactical planning to operational planning, which actually deals with your day-to-day activities, which is going to help you in order to achieve the overall strategic planning. So this is how it works. And within each these divisions, you see there is a coordination. So each divisions works together with each other. So everything comes under planning. This is how the planning is going to be executed. So the next one is after strategic planning, we have tactical planning. As I told you, tactical planning is more focused, and it is more shorter planning compared to strategic planning, and it typically goes for 1 to 3 years. It will not go beyond 3 years. It is 1 to 3 years, and we break applicable strategic goals into series of incremental objectives. For example, if we can see our same example, if I talk about the same strategic planning that we had, so we can break those strategic planning into tactical planning, and one of the objective could be now Amazon Fresh wants to expand its infrastructure. So how it can do it? It can establish local partnership with transportation and logistic companies to ensure timely deliveries. This can be the infrastructure, the logistic planning that we saw that in strategic planning. And in the second one, the marketing. So in marketing, we can break this marketing planning into the tactical planning for marketing could be we want to offer incentives such as free delivery for Amazon Prime members and discounts who are going to buy from Amazon Prime as a first user or as a first grocery order. So this can be the marketing sub plans. And for technology that we saw there, we want to localize the website and mobile app with regional languages, currencies, and delivery preferences. So now we have break down those three marketing and logistic and technology plans into sub parts. So these are actually your tactical planning. And then finally, we have operational planning, which actually is used by managers and employees to organize the ongoing day-to-day performance of tasks. Like as I said, how you're going to achieve these tasks. So these things are going to be done, and generally people do these things by weekly meetings, summaries, progress reports. Same like we have a project in our university. We also follow the same things, right? We do communications wherever we want. We perform weekly meetings. We always give summary what we have achieved and what actually is going on in this progress reports. So this actually gives you a clear this actually gives you a clear agenda, or tells you what actually you are doing and what is missing, right? So in operational planning, the word operational means day-to-day operations. How you're going to implement those planning is going to come under operational planning. Yeah, but if I talk about planning for information security implementation, now we saw planning from top organizational point of view. But if I talk about information security perspective, how it is going to work. So if you can recall the previous diagram, let's go back. So this diagram, I think. So this diagram should be clear with everyone. So on the top, we have Chief Executive Officer. Then we have Financial Officer, Information Officer, and Operations Officer, right? These are the four of C-suite or C-class executives. And then you have Chief Information Security Officer. Here actually our things comes. So CISO or VP of System or VP of Network. So from here, if you see, all people are directly related to security. And they all report to CIO, Chief Information Officer, right? So I think in our previous two use case, they didn't have these things. So all these things were missing. They had the technicians at the bottom layer, but there was no CISO was there. Only the CIO was there. There was no VP of system. There was no VP network. So if you see, this is the hierarchy by which who the person reports to whom, I mean. So now if I come back to the same slide, yes, how this planning is going to work in information security. So the CIO, which is on top of CISO, they are going to play the major role here, and they are going to translate overall strategic planning that we saw into tactical and operational information security plans. So how Amazon wants to achieve their business. So in order to achieve that Amazon Fresh business, so CIO and CISO will sit together and they will see what things are needed what actually will be security from security point of view, what will be the strategic planning, tactical planning, and operational planning. So these two people are the main responsible people for the whole organization, for the planning from the top approach. So when CISO reports directly to the CIO, so the CIO charges the CISO. So then CIO is the main guy, which is on the top. So he is a responsible guy who is going to see whether this CISO and other IT department heads that we saw, VP, system admin, and all those people are adapting these plans and that are consistent with the supportive of IT strategy as it supports the organizational strategy. The next is it should fall upon CISO. So like CISO actually, even though the planning is there, but CISO can actually go beyond those plans and it can make more efforts, or it can train their IT groups to ensure that information security planning directly supports the whole organization. Like example, if there were two planning, logistic, marketing, and technology, right? So now CISO can take certain steps with the help of which it can make sure each of these strategic plannings are executed well. We will see how it can do actually. So what actually CISO is going to perform? So we are focusing more on CISO because he is the main guy who actually is responsible for information security here. So basically, CISO will create a strategic information security plan with a vision for the future of information security at company X. So if I take the same example of our Amazon Fresh, you can see here, so the CISO will be responsible to develop a comprehensive security plan to protect the global expansion of Amazon Fresh. And how he can do this? He can do this by including securing customer data, ensuring safe transaction is being performed through localized payment methods in all those 5 countries, and also protecting the logistic network, because as I told you this, we had 3 different plans: logistic, marketing, and technology. So he will make sure that the logistic network is protected from potential cyber threats. So this can be this is one CISO job. The second, so in the first step, if you see, he is making a strategic information security planning, right? And with some vision. But in the second step, if you see, he wants to understand the fundamental business activities that actually is going to perform by company, so that once he knows what actually the company is doing, then only he can, based on those information, he can actually suggest what information security solutions are needed by the company. So for example, in our case, in Amazon Fresh case, this company is going to use grocery delivery, right? There should be some inventory management and also customer service. So these 3 things could be one of the main business activities that Amazon Fresh is going to perform. And based on these business activities, the CISO can suggest certain security solutions, which could be end-to-end encryption for payment data. They can implement secure API integration with local grocery supplies, so that the data is being transferred in a secure way. Deploying multi-factor authentication. So whenever the customer logins, it will make sure that we have the right or the correct customer. So it can deploy multi-factor authentication for all customers' account to prevent data breaches. So this is the second things once he understands. And once he understands, then what he is going to do, he is going to develop action plans. He is going to have schedules, budget, what money is going to be needed, status report, what is the current and what will be the ongoing status report, and it is going to also inform other people who are there in the loop. So, for example, again, the CI for the same example, if we take, the CISO can create a detailed plan how actually it is going to implement firewall intrusion detection system in Amazon Fresh to fulfill because of new centers they have. The second is it is going to also, he's also going to organize regular uh, schedules for regular penetration testing, so that he can identify vulnerabilities in the whole system. For example, in grocery delivery platform, and then he can allocate a budget if he found like if the cybersecurity staff are not well trained. So he can also allocate some budget for that, and he can also allocate budget for I mean for buying or purchasing new firewalls or IDs as well. So these all things will go under budget. So and then the status report of any security incidents and improvements are he is going to directly provide to the top executives, which is CIO and CEO of Amazon Fresh quarterly. So this is what he can do. And once the plan has been translated into IT and information security objectives and tactical and operational plan that we saw, the implementation will begin. So implementation again will begin in the two similar ways that we saw in organizational planning. It can follow top approach or it can follow bottom approach. So the whole planning that information security officer CISO has done, it can flow from the top. So the same advantage will be there if it comes from the top. it is going to have good funding will be there, accountability will be there, who actually is accountable for any loophole. And if it comes from bottom up, then so day to day, because those people are working with the systems directly, right? So they know what actually is the real status of system. So real time problems and real time problems can be one of them. So it can flow from these two approach. So if you see, both planning, organizational planning and information security planning, they both work in the same way, and they both can be implemented in same way, bottom and top approach. Yeah, but how actually you're going to implement? So it turns out that we can implement the whole security program using system development lifecycle. So there are two life cycles. One is software development lifecycle that I think most of us know, and the other one is system development lifecycle. So there is little difference between both of them. The name suggests. So it is software and it is system. So if software is more related to the software development, that is part of a system. But here we are talking about the entire system, which actually has software, hardware, people, different processes, everything comes under a whole system, right? So, so when we say SDLC, it means we are talking about system development life cycle. So SDLC is a method by which you can design, you can implement information system, and it is combined with various things. For example, uh, management practice, sound project. It is combined with sound project management practices, which actually is going to develop the project milestones, allocate resources, how you're going to select personals who are going to be in the team, who are going to perform the task in order to accomplish the whole project's objective. And SDLC approach can be scaled up to support design, implementation, and maintenance. We will see these things in detail in our next slides of an entire security program. And because you are implementing the security aspects in system development lifecycle, this is why we are calling it as security systems development lifecycle, SEC SDLC. So once security program is implemented, it should always be it should always be supported with a continuous improvement program, as we saw, because whatever life cycle or things you have, because threats are always evolving, new threats will evolve, and the old threats will have some new techniques, so that they cannot be detected by your tools. So there should be always a continuous improvement program, which is called CIP. Although you will see there are different types of models that actually can be used to implement not software system development lifecycle, but the waterfall model that is there in our conventional software development lifecycle is also being used commonly here in security system development lifecycle, and it also has similar steps that actually means we are going to follow the same waterfall model. So the typical idea of secure soft system development lifecycle is, first you need to identify what are the specific threats to the system. This is the first thing. What are the risks that they represent, and in as well as the subsequent design and implementation of specific control. How you are going to make sure those threats are being controlled. For example, access control mechanism can be one of them. And then, of course, how you're going to manage those risks. So this is the waterfall methods. I think most of us have seen this, right? But it is little different from software development lifecycle because it has now security aspects. But it starts with first investigation. Investigation actually means like you want to have, like, the management wants to specify what will be the process, what will be the outcome of the whole program that they want to implement, what will be the goal of the project, and what is its budget they are going to have. And then teams are going to assemble and analyze the problem, what the problem is, and based on this, the second phase will come, which is analysis, where we have where they are going to see what are the current issues with the systems, what are the known threats, and what are the known control mechanism which the system is currently using, and different things. What are the legal and what are the legal aspects, and what are the risks associated with those threats? Everything will come under analysis. The next one is logical design. So here, actually, you give the detail or the blueprint of the system's specification, how actually the whole system is going to work. And then the next one is physical design, where we talk about which technology or we are going to use as a solution to implement that logical design. And finally in implementation, we actually implement, we test, and we check whether whatever we have taken, whether it's working as intended or not. So feedback, testing, program, and system acceptance come under this. And finally, we have maintenance and charge. So in maintenance, actually we here also maintenance is there, which actually sees whether the performance that we were thinking is actually working as expected or not. So I have just explained the same thing here. So in investigation, it actually comes from the top management, which is going to specify the process, outcome, and goal of the whole project. Analysis is always talks about existing system policies and programs for known threats and control that they are going to have. What will be the relevant legal issues that actually can affect the overall system design or the solution that we are going to use? Analysis also covers risk management, how you're going to identify, assess, and evaluate those risks which are going to be faced by the organization. We are going to see this risk management in our upcoming classes also. So these things, three things will come under analysis. Then in design, as I told you, design is actually divided into two parts: logical design and physical design. So logical design is actually a blueprint about team members, like team members and the security plan that you are going to build, and the policies that actually is going to that is going to influence the overall decision. But in physical design, we are more interested in about the solution, about the technology that is going to be used to implement those logical design. So we can talk about some AI if we want to develop an ideas. We can talk about, like, if we want to use deep learning or maybe reinforcement learning to implement this intrusion detection system. And then under implementation, finally you are going to test your solution. Maybe you can have your own test bed, or you can just buy a solution and you can just use that solution in your organization. And implementation will also cover personal issues, where personal issues are evaluated. And like, for example, few people may find, like, because of new technology, they are not skilled enough to operate on those. So specific training are going to be there, and education of program is going to be conducted. But if you see, the most important part of this implementation uh, is the management of the whole project plan, which is planning the project, the first one. The second one is how you're going to supervise those tasks and how these actions are going to be performed within this project. And third is how you're going to wrap up the whole project. So because they have a deadline, so you need to wrap up the whole project. So from planning to wrap up, everything will come under implementation. So who are going to be there in a project team? So typically, these are the people who forms this team, who actually are responsible to implement the whole planning. Champion here means CIO, Information Officer can be the champion because he is the main guy. Team leader can be our CISO, who actually is going to see those whether those strategic plannings are being executed by the lower people or not. Security policy developers, risk management specialists, security professionals, systems administrator, and of course end users. These all people will make the whole information security team. And these are the some professionals that actually we saw in that top down and bottom up approach: CIO, CSO, CISO, security manager. So you should be aware of these professionals, because these professionals directly works with information security. So you will find, if you are working in information security in a company, you will see you are at some positions within these. within these professionals, I mean. Yeah, and the last one is maintenance. As I told you, even though uh, you have built a very good system, but the threats always evolve. New threats can always come, and the old threats that you were thinking you can prevent by using your control system may have got evolved also. So they may not be controlled by your previous control system. So again, so in maintenance, the whole system is being cross-checked. The whole management sits and they see whether the model that they design is able to manage and is able to quantify those attacks, cyber threats or not. Yeah. So this is about the maintenance and secure system development life cycle. Yes. Thanks. So